All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, in Fleetwood Mac, I contend it's harder to replace Lindsey Buckingham than it is to replace Stevie Nicks. Now, I know that's going to create some controversy because, in the eyes of like Irving Azoff and even Lindsey Buckingham, in an interview said, hey, the casual fans are willing to attend these shows so long as Stevie Nicks is there and, she is the brand name. And I think that that might be true, but from a musical perspective, I've seen two Fleetwood Mac tribute bands that have had really excellent Stevie Nicks replacements, people who are trying to pay tribute, pay homage to the amazing Stevie Nicks. The one band that comes to mind in particular is a band called Rumours of Fleetwood Mac. They are from the UK and they are spectacular in their presentation. I think their version of Everywhere on YouTube has something like 11 million views. And this is a tribute band, people. And it's just amazing. The performance, if you go watch it, it just lifts your spirits. These are people who seem to like to hang out together and create music. And, full disclosure, I've seen them in person and they are just as good in person as they are on YouTube. Now, for many people, again, they just won't accept a tribute band. Tribute bands just, they're lame. I want to see the original members. I get that. But if the original members can't function in their original capacity, then I think the best thing you could do is go out and see something that replicates that makes you feel as though you've seen the band in their prime. And in both cases, the bands I've seen, the Stevie Nicks person has been spot on or so close that you're really not thinking about it. You're thinking about, wow, that's an amazing version of Sarah or whatever song that you just listened to that Stevie Nicks sings lead vocals on. Whereas with the Lindsey Buckingham character, even in Rumours of Fleetwood Mac, I would give the rest of the band A's or A pluses as far as their execution of whoever they're trying to replace. The Lindsey character, and it's not his fault, the Lindsey character gets like a C plus or a B minus at the best, at the most. And the reason for that is Lindsey is so difficult to replace, both his energy, his vocals, which I think are very unique vocals. And that's what makes it difficult. Obviously, the guitar playing, all right, you got the manic energy. You got like Harrison Ford running through the airport through the entire show. That's Lindsey Buckingham trying to escape the boulder that's about to crush him. That's the energy that Lindsey Buckingham brings to the table. And you can't duplicate that. You can't replicate that. And Lindsey made a point of saying that he thinks Stevie Nicks finds it a little bit strange that he's not acting age appropriately when he gets out there and jumps around. That's the kind of energy you're trying to replace. You can't because there's passion there. The music kind of flows right through the guy. Whereas with Stevie Nicks, especially now back in the old days, Stevie Nicks had just as much of that sort of off the charts, almost bizarre energy. If you go back and watch footage from her, the late 70s, and I don't know if that's just substances which are kicking in for her, but still, she brought amazing energy to the table. That's not there anymore. But again, going back to my premise of trying to replace somebody, this is why on two separate occasions, Fleetwood Mac replaced Lindsey Buckingham with not one member, but two. It was Mike Campbell and Neil Finn. And the media was fawning over the casual chemistry between Neil Finn and Stevie Nicks. And Mike Campbell, who is a very good guitar player, but I would say, you know, at a scale of 1 to 10, Mike's probably a 7 or an 8, maybe. Lindsey is a 10. He's a 10, not just because of, how technical he is, but how unique he is and how he brings his sound and Fleetwood Mac's sound. You can attribute that to Lindsey's style of guitar playing. So when you bring in the Tom Petty guy, he makes Fleetwood Mac sound more like Tom Petty than like Fleetwood Mac. So you get this hybrid band, which is what Stevie Nicks, I think, really wanted. And Lindsey Buckingham, again, makes the point that she wanted a more soft, gentle, more esoteric sound. And that certainly was the last tour. That was definitely the last tour. Lindsey Buckingham, in fact, calls that version of the band a covers band. So this is what I mean by it's, and they won't admit it. They won't tell you, it's impossible to replace Lindsey Buckingham. They say something like, change has always been a part of Fleetwood Mac's evolution. And I'm like, yeah, but you guys are better when you have this particular lineup with Lindsey and Stevie in it. All right. But here's my point now, which is obviously going to generate controversy for people who watch this channel or who will share this video with somebody who's in love with Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks right now can be replaced. She can be replaced. I know at least 2 candidates who could easily replace Stevie Nicks. You still have the Fleetwood Mac banner up there. All right. Maybe you don't get all of the wacky dialogue in between songs, which I could do without. Maybe you don't get the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction speech, because I can do without that. And the reason I mention that is because that broken up into pieces tends to be what you're going to hear during the course of an evening. And I'd rather have you just shut up and sing the songs. Sing the songs, bring the songs back to life. I want to hear what I've heard on the radio, for the last 40 plus years. Let's hear it. Let's not be, so esoteric and so generic that, only your super casual fan who's, had like 4 or 5 of those $14 beers really accepts what you're doing. Whereas somebody who's a little more sober and critical and wants to hear the music and cares about the music and wants that music executed well, especially since they just dropped a C note to go see a show and they're probably in the nosebleed section on top of that, those people deserve a really good concert. And as the years go by, what happens is the casual fans, the Irving Azoff fan base, I should call it, those fans tend to be the more dominant fans, whereas the other fans stay home. And the reason they stay home is, number one, they're getting old. They don't want to drive 50 miles back and forth. They don't want to walk far away. They're parking their car and then they're going to have to walk. When I went to see Journey in Tampa, that was like, just to get into the stadium, it was brutal. And I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't this be easier if I were at home and I had a remote control and had a really good sound system and, the walls weren't sweating? Because you walk in there and there's like water dripping down the walls and you're like, yeah, I don't know. This isn't what I want to do tonight. I do want to hear some music. So you got the younger fans who are coming in because of TikTok videos. And it's like, and you get the older fans that are sitting there going, this doesn't really look or sound like Fleetwood Mac. And maybe there's an overlap where the younger fans and the older fans are like, ooh, if I can just get a glimpse of Stevie, or gee, I could see Mick Fleetwood's bald head. This makes it all worth being here tonight. And I'm thinking to myself as a music fan, I'm like, nope, I'll go see Rumors of Fleetwood Mac, just because they're going to put the music out there. And by the way, Rumors of Fleetwood Mac, they'll play some songs that the current lineup or the last lineup won't touch. They just, deeper album tracks, things that you haven't heard even performed live by the original Fleetwood Mac, or if you did, it was that specific year on that tour when that album came out. So in any event, again, it's easier to replace Stevie Nicks right now than Lindsey Buckingham. If they were to resurrect Fleetwood Mac, And Stevie Nicks, look, she's kind of a social distancer right now, and she's been for a long time. Lindsey Buckingham called her out and said, she's got people who do her stuff and she's kind of lonely. And this is what her life is kind of all about. And it's been that way for some time. And look, like she says, I've got no beef with that. Her fan base, I think, is a lot like that now. Her original fan base is, yeah, let's just stay home. This really isn't worth it. I'll fire up a DVD from whatever year and we'll watch that. There's so many things now you can watch on YouTube, and the people who have the sophisticated home theater systems, and they're putting that music into a nice, cozy room where they can get their own adult beverages and they won't cost $14 a pop. It just makes better sense. The energy isn't there. We're not all young kids anymore waiting in the dirt parking lot to get into the show with our $7 ticket stub. It would be cool if that was the way it used to be, but it's not. And I understand that some people can't let go of the past. And at times I'm a bit like that. I get nostalgic, but you have to realize that your heroes are a little past their due date. You know what I mean? It's like, just admit this doesn't sound anything like the band you grew up listening to. Those are things that, and I've been grappling with this since I started the channel. When people say, what'd you think of what that sounded like? And I'll be like, inside, I'm saying to myself, it kind of sucked. It kind of sucked, but it was good for what it was, but it still kind of sucked. And I try to put on the happy face. When I went to see Rumors of Fleetwood Mac or Brit Floyd, that was another band I went to see, I was blown away. I was like, wow, this is close. This is Close Your Eyes, and this is close. Out of those two, I would say Rumors of Fleetwood Mac, they've got the whole Fleetwood Mac thing down. And I've said this in other videos. I think that band is like the next generation of what Fleetwood Mac could be. Or again, if Mick Fleetwood now wanted to say, look, we need a new Stevie Nicks. Maybe we need a new Christine McVie too while we're at it. I'm just being honest. Lindsey, I think, could probably do this for a couple more years. Vocally, Lindsey's doing different things to kind of make up for where his voice is gone at this point, but he's done it in a very creative way, especially in the studio. So I don't mind him as much. Plus, he's not a constant lead vocalist in Fleetwood Mac. Just to have him back there on guitar with his energy and creating that sound that made the band what they are today, I think you could probably have Lindsey for as long as he wants to do this. So anyway, long-winded video to make the point that I think it's easier to replace Stevie Nicks today and then keep Lindsey than doing the opposite, what they did in 2019. And yes, we all know Stevie gave the ultimatum, even though she never said fire him. Irving Azoff apparently agreed and made the phone call and initiated the whole thing. And quite honestly, it's a bit goofy and laughable that they couldn't just, do arbitration and come to some kind of an agreement. They don't have to like each other, right? But see, people kind of do show up to see what those two are going to do together on stage. So if Stevie really wanted to keep this ball rolling, which I don't think she really cares either way, she would say, yeah, bring him in because he's going to create the kind of excitement that we need to sell lots of tickets, especially since the last tour he wasn't there. So from a business standpoint, and Irving Azoff knows this too. Even though he kind of threw Lindsey under the bus, if he could get everybody back together again, talk about a tour. You could bill it as a bit of a reunion, a last go round of this classic Rumors lineup. But again, you also have to have Christine McVie, and she had a lot of issues on the last tour. Her voice, again, she's another member that at this point in time, they may want to just say, you know what, Christine, thank you so much. I think she's 77 years old. She might be older than that. Might be just time. I mean, retirement. I mean, it has to be a thing. I mean, people in regular business and regular industries retire at 65, 70 years old to sing, and to sing well at that age on stage that's got to be a tall order. Anyway, that's my video on the topic. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the channel here and subscribe to it, and also hit the bell for notifications. And yes, Patreon for just $1 a month. Lots of new patrons coming on board since I've been talking about The Thing. It's like a crazy movie that never ends. It's The Thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.